Behind every smile aimed at you, there's a calculation running. And the day you learn to read it, people stop being confusing forever. Why did he suddenly turn cold? Why did she help you and then resent you? Why did the partner walk the moment things got hard? You've filed those as mysteries. They were arithmetic, running quietly the whole time. And you just never learned to read the ledger. So today I hand you the tool. 4 questions that open anyone's invisible books and let you predict moves before they're made. But the 4th question leads somewhere you're not expecting. Because there's one person whose ledger you've never once opened, and it's the only ledger that will actually change your life. Stay to the end. That's where this stops being a trick and becomes a mirror. Here's the sentence that changes everything once you accept it. People do what they're paid to do, not just in money, paid in status, paid in comfort, paid in feeling good about themselves, paid in safety, in attention, in the removal of guilt. Every human action clears a payment of some kind, and once you can spot the currency, behavior stops being surprising. Not because people are evil, because people are consistent, terrifyingly, beautifully consistent, the way gravity is consistent. You don't get angry at gravity, you build with it. Machiavelli built his entire method on this single foundation. In his discourses, he wrote that men never do good unless necessity drives them to it. He wasn't sneering when he wrote that. He was doing engineering. His point was that anyone who designs his life around what people ought to do will be ruined by what they actually do, and that the wise man studies the actual, the incentives, the necessities, the quiet math, and builds on that rock instead of on wishes. I call it reading the math, and the 4 questions run in strict order because each one only works on ground, the one before it cleared. Cost first, or the gains will fool you, gains second, or the forks stay invisible, forks third, or the structures escape blame. Ask them in order about any person, any favor, any alliance, any betrayal, and the books open, and you stop wasting years being hurt by behavior that was announced in numbers from the very beginning. Before we open the books, drop 4 words in the comments. I see the math, type it, because in 20 minutes you will, everywhere, and you'll wonder how you ever walked around blind. Run it on a small one first. Trevor from the office covered your Friday shift twice last spring. Didn't mention it, didn't ask for anything, just did it. Then, in November, he asked you to back him in a meeting where he was plainly wrong, and when you hesitated, his face changed like a bill had bounced. That look confused you for a week. It won't after this question. Question 1. Whenever anyone does anything for you, ask first, what did this cost them? Not what did it look like, what did it actually cost? Because the world is full of generosity that costs nothing. And generosity that costs nothing is not information. The compliment tossed in passing, the supportive comment where everyone can see it, the offer of help made precisely when help can't be accepted. Let me know if you need anything. Delivered at the moment, nothing can be needed. All of it is free, and free signals mean nothing because anyone can afford them. But cost is a signal that can't be faked. The friend who gives you a Saturday when his week was brutal. The colleague who spends her credibility defending you in a room where it would have been cheaper to stay quiet. The man who tells you a truth that risks the friendship because you needed it more than he needed your comfort. Those actions have price tags, real ones, and a person who pays a real price for you has told you something no words can tell you. Here's the mechanism, and an old Scotsman said it best. In 1776, Adam Smith published The Wealth of Nations, and inside it sits maybe the most honest sentence ever written about human cooperation. It is not from the benevolence of the butcher, the brewer, or the baker that we expect our dinner, he wrote, but from their regard to their own interest. Smith wasn't condemning the butcher. He was explaining why the meat shows up every day, reliably, without anyone needing the butcher to be a saint. Interest is the engine, benevolence is the paint, and Smith's insight cuts both ways for you. Stop expecting the paint to pull the cart, and stop being offended that the engine is the engine. Just learn to check what's actually powering each kindness that rolls up to your door. Picture two offers of help arriving in the same hard week. One is a public comment, warm and useless, posted where the audience can grade it. The other is a man who drives 40 minutes on a Tuesday night, says nothing to anyone, and helps you carry the weight. Both said the same words, only one paid anything. 10 years from now you won't remember who commented. You'll remember who drove. One warning inside this question though, because cost has a dark twin. Some people pay real costs strategically, as investments in obligation. The expensive favor you never asked for, the generosity that arrives uninvited, oversized, and impossible to refuse gracefully. The gift that lands with a strange weight, like a hand on your shoulder. High-cost giving is honest when it answers a need you expressed. It's an invoice when it manufactures a debt you never agreed to carry. The tell is the request that was never made. When someone repeatedly pays large costs for you that you didn't ask for, and then months later, the requests begin, small at first, hard to refuse, because look at everything they've done for you. You're not inside a friendship. You're inside a collection scheme, and the earlier payments were the setup. So refine the question, not just what did it cost them, but did I ask, and if you didn't, keep one eye on what the cost is quietly purchasing. So here's the first directive: resort every relationship in your life by cost paid, not warmth performed. Make a short list, honestly, of who has actually paid something for you: time, risk, comfort, capital, and notice how different that list is from the list of people who sound supportive. Then aim your loyalty at the first list. Cost is the only currency that never lies, but knowing what they paid is only half the ledger. The other half is the question almost nobody has the stomach to ask. Question 2. For every action anyone takes, including the kind ones, especially the kind ones, ask, what do they gain? And here's where you have to widen your idea of payment, because this is where most people's reading fails. They look for money, see none, and conclude the act was pure. But money is the smallest currency in the human economy. People get paid in status, the mentor whose generosity keeps him surrounded by grateful juniors. Paid in self-image, the giver who needs to be the giver, whose kindness is how he knows who he is. Paid in obligation, the favor that arrives uninvited and sits on your shelf like a quiet invoice. Paid in access, in information, in the simple pleasure of being needed. Every act clears a payment. Your job is not to condemn the payment. Your job is to find it, because the payment tells you what the behavior will do next. Here's the mechanism, and hold it gently, because it includes everyone you love. Finding the gain doesn't make the kindness fake. Your mother gains deep meaning from caring for you. That gain doesn't poison her love, it powers it, and that's exactly why her love is reliable. This is the great misreading of Machiavelli, that seeing self-interest means seeing evil. Wrong. Seeing self-interest means seeing the fuel line. Some people are fueled by helping you, genuinely, structurally, and once you've verified that, you can trust them more, not less, because you know their engine runs on your good. Others are fueled by what helping you positions them for, and their kindness has an expiry date you can now calculate. Same warm behavior on the surface, completely different futures underneath. The gain is how you tell them apart. And add the hidden half of the currency list, the negative currencies, because some of the most powerful payments are escapes. People act to avoid guilt, and their kindness is the fee they pay to not feel like a bad person. People act to avoid fear, and their agreement with you is not agreement. It's the avoidance of your disappointment. People act to avoid shame, conflict, the discomfort of saying no. When you can't find what someone gains from an action, flip the ledger and look for what the action lets them escape. The relative who visits out of duty is being paid in avoided guilt. The colleague who never pushes back is being paid in avoided conflict. This matters for prediction, because escape-driven behavior is brittle in a specific way. It lasts exactly as long as the discomfort does, and the moment a cheaper escape appears, the behavior vanishes overnight, and everyone calls it sudden. It was never sudden. The rent just dropped somewhere else. Picture the two mentors, both generous, both attentive. You run the question on the first, and the gain you find is honest and self-renewing. He loves the craft, loves watching it passed on, gains meaning every time you level up. His help will survive your success. You run it on the second, and the gain is your dependence, being the man you can't move without. His help will quietly fight your independence, and the day you outgrow him, the warmth will cool on schedule. You needed the gain to see the difference, because the smiles were identical. So here's the second directive. Take the 3 most generous people in your life and find each one's payment. Not to accuse them, to classify the fuel that renews when you rise. Lean on it with your whole weight. Fuel that depends on your smallness. Appreciate it politely and never build on it. You're not becoming cynical. You're becoming accurate about which kindnesses can hold weight. Now stop, because I know what a part of you is muttering right now, and we're going to have it out in the open. The mutter goes, "This is so cynical. I don't want to live checking everyone's angles. Some things are just pure. Fine. Run one experiment before you decide. Think of the kindest thing anyone did for you this year." Got it. Now ask the question, honestly, what did it pay them? In any currency, meaning closeness, self-image, obligation, anything. Find it, because it's there. And now the real question, the one I want in the comments. Did finding the payment make the kindness less real to you, or more? Because I'll tell you what I think. A kindness with an honest engine is sturdier than a kindness that claims to run on nothing. But plenty of you will disagree, and that argument is exactly the one worth having. Take a side below, question 3, and this is the one that predicts the future. For every alliance, partnership, friendship, or deal, ask where exactly do our interests fork? Because here's what an alliance actually is, underneath the loyalty language. An alliance is an overlap, 2 ledgers that happen to point the same direction for a stretch of road. While the overlap holds, you get warmth, cooperation, us against the world, and it all feels like character. Then the road forks, the overlap ends, and each ledger follows its own arrow, and everyone acts shocked. Don't be shocked, be early. The fork was visible the whole time to anyone who bothered to look up the road. Watch how this reads in real life. The business partner is loyal right up until the interests split. The buyout offer that's good for him and bad for you. The pivot that serves his timeline and wrecks yours. The office ally is your brother in arms until you're both up for the same seat. The friendship is easy until one of you rises and the ledgers stop rhyming. None of these people necessarily lied about the loyalty. The loyalty was real, the way weather is real. It was a product of conditions, and conditions have forecasts, if you'll read them. Here's the mechanism, and it's Machiavelli's coldest and most useful habit of mind. He judged every alliance not by its warmth in the present, but by its geometry at the fork. Before entering anything, he asked what each party would need at the moment of divergence, and he assumed, always, that at the fork, necessity would beat sentiment, because in his discourses that's exactly what he observed men do. Good only under necessity, self-serving the moment necessity lifts. So he prepared for the fork in advance, and was never surprised, and being never surprised was his whole advantage. You can have the same advantage this week. It costs 1 uncomfortable question per relationship. Picture entering a partnership with the fork question in hand. You ask out loud even, what happens if this takes off and one of us wants to sell? What happens if it fails and one of us needs out? Where would your interests and mine stop rhyming? Amateurs find this rude, professionals find it relieving, because a partner willing to map the fork with you is showing you his ledger voluntarily, and voluntary ledgers are the foundation of every partnership that survives. The ones who get offended by the question, notice, are the ones who preferred their ledger unread. And carry one corollary with you, because it will save you 100 hours of wounded confusion. When someone's behavior toward you changes suddenly, warmer, colder, closer, distant, your instinct is to ask, what did I do? Wrong question, most of the time. The right question is, What changed in their math? The colleague who's suddenly friendly may have just learned you're up for a role that affects him. The friend gone quiet may have entered a season where your success costs him more to witness. The relative newly interested in your life may have a need forming that you haven't heard about yet. You usually didn't do anything. Their ledger moved, and their behavior followed it, the way a compass needle follows iron. So before you spiral, audit their circumstances, not your conscience. Behavior change is ledger change, 9 times out of 10, and the 10th time, they'll tell you. So here's the third directive. For your 3 most important alliances, work, business, even the personal ones, locate the fork on paper. Where specifically would our interests split? Then do 2 things. Prepare quietly for that point. And where you can, redesign the deal so the fork moves farther away. Aligned incentives. Shared upside structures where his win stays my win. That's not cynicism. That's the actual work of keeping people good, building the road so the ledgers rhyme longer. And the 4th question takes the tool off individual people entirely and points it somewhere bigger. My stake, before the 4th question, I think we raise boys on a story of pure motives. Everyone means well, always assume the best, and then act surprised when grown men get blindsided by ledgers nobody taught them existed. Teaching a man to read cost and benefit isn't cynicism. It's literacy. Question 4. When behavior confuses you, stop asking what's wrong with the person and ask, what does the structure pay them to do? Because here's the upgrade that separates the readers from the naive. Most bad behavior isn't a bad person. It's a normal person standing inside a payment structure, doing what the structure pays for. The salesman who pushes the overpriced package isn't a villain. His rent is a commission, and his advice will bend toward his rent every time, as advice always bends toward rent. The manager who buries your idea isn't blind. His bonus is measured on this quarter, and your idea pays off in 2 years. The news that keeps you scared isn't run by liars. It's run by people paid per unit of your attention, and fear is the cheapest attention there is. Wrong question. Why are they like this? Right question. What are they paid to be like? Here's the mechanism, and it's the one that finally kills your daily bewilderment. Structures select behavior. Put a saint in a structure that pays for corner cutting, and watch the structure sand the saint, slowly, deniably, until his corner's round. Put an average man in a structure that pays for honesty, and watch him become reliable as sunrise. This means 2 enormous things for you. First, when you want the truth, never ask someone whose rent depends on a particular answer. Don't ask the barber whether you need a haircut. Find the person with no rent in the outcome, and treasure them. They're rare. And second, when you're being pressured, look past the person's face to the structure behind them, because you can't negotiate with a face whose rent is on the line, but you can often route around the structure entirely. Picture the advisor across the desk, warm, credentialed, convincing. The old you evaluated his smile. The new you runs the question, how does this man eat? And discovers he eats a percentage of what you buy. That single fact doesn't make him a liar. It makes his advice a product, and you read products differently than you read friends. So you thank him, take the information, and get a second read from someone whose dinner doesn't depend on your yes. One question, it will save you more money over a lifetime than any skill you learn this year. And then turn the structural question on the structure you stand inside, because you're in one, and it's shaping you right now. What does your job actually pay you to become? Not the job description, the real payments. Does it pay you for honesty, or for telling the room what it wants to hear? For building, or for appearing busy, for long-term judgment, or for this quarter's optics? Whatever it actually pays for, that's the direction you're being sanded, one deniable millimeter at a time, exactly like the saint in the corner-cutting shop. Most men wake up at 50 shaped entirely by rents they never once examined. So run the audit annually, the way you'd inspect a house you live in. What is this structure paying me to become, and is that anyone I'd choose to be? If the answer chills you, start planning the exit before the sanding finishes. because structures always finish. So here's the fourth directive. Build the reflex, follow the rent, anytime advice, pressure, or outrage arrives. Trace how the source eats before you weigh what the source says. And audit your own inputs the same way. The feeds, the channels, the voices you marinate in daily. Each one is paid by something, and what pays them shapes what they show you. Cure it by incentive, not by charm. And now the last ledger, the one I promised, the one this whole video was walking toward. Here it is. You've spent 20 minutes learning to open other people's books. 4 questions, and everyone around you turned legible. The costs, the gains, the forks, the rents. But there's one ledger you've never opened, and it's been running the longest. And its math has shaped more of your life than everyone else's combined. Yours, because you're in the economy too. Your kindness clears payments, your loyalty has currencies. And you've never once run the audit, because the one universal law of the hidden math is that every man believes he's the exception to it. So run it now, with me, and don't flinch. That generosity you're known for, what does it buy you? And would you still give if it bought nothing, if no one ever knew? That loyalty to the old friend, the old job, the old path, is it loyalty, or is it the avoidance of a fear you've never named, priced as a virtue? That helpfulness that leaves you drained, what's the payment? Being needed, being liked, being safe from the guilt. None of these questions makes you a fraud. They make you a man finally reading his own books. And no man is dangerous to manipulate once he's read his own books, because every manipulation ever aimed at you was aimed at a payment you didn't know you were seeking. And here's the second half of the mirror, the constructive half. Once your ledger is open to you, you can do something almost no one does. You can make it legible to others, on purpose, say what you want, plainly, state your interest in the deal, instead of performing selflessness. I'm helping because this succeeds for me too. Here's how. Watch what happens when you do this. Trust goes up, not down, because people don't actually trust men who claim to want nothing. Some animal part of them keeps searching for the hidden engine, and the search never rests. But a man whose engine is visible, whose math is offered face up on the table, that man can be planned around, built with, believed. Machiavelli's necessity-bound men become good exactly when the structures make their interests plain and aligned. Be the first man in every room to show the math, and you'll be the one everyone ends up building on. So here's the final directive, in 2 strokes. First tonight, open your own ledger. 3 entries. Your biggest kindness, your oldest loyalty, your most draining habit of helping, and find the honest payment behind each. Write them down where no one will see. And second, from tomorrow, 1 relationship at a time. Put your math face up. State your interest out loud in the next deal, the next favor, the next collaboration. You'll feel exposed for a week. Then you'll notice something strange. The confusing people drift. The solid people lean in. And life gets simpler, deal by deal, because you became the one thing this whole hidden economy almost never sees. A man with nothing under the table. And notice one last gift the math gives you, the one nobody expects from a video like this. It kills resentment. Half the bitterness you've carried for years came from reading self-interest as personal betrayal, from expecting people to run on benevolence and taking it as an insult when they ran on their own necessities instead. But you don't resent the butcher for charging you. You don't hate the river for flooding. Once you see that the colleague, the ex-partner, the old friend were mostly just clearing their own payments inside their own structures, the sting quietly drains out of a decade of old wounds. Not because they were right, but because it was never about you. And things that were never about you cannot keep hurting you once you know it. Comprehension is the only forgiveness that doesn't require pretending. The math sets you free of them, and that freedom was the real product all along. So close the books and look at what you're carrying out. Question 1. What did it cost them? Because cost is the only signal that can't be faked. Question 2. What do they gain? Because the gain names the fuel, and the fuel predicts the future of every kindness. Question 3. Where do the interests fork? Because alliances are overlaps with forecasts, and the wise are never surprised at the fork. Question 4. What does the structure pay for? Because most bad behavior is just rent being earned, and you can root around structures you could never argue with. And the fifth ledger, yours, opened at last, and then offered face-up, which is the strangest power move in the entire hidden economy. Here's what changes now. People stop being confusing, and once people stop being confusing, they stop being frightening. You'll watch a betrayal forming 6 months out and step aside without drama. You'll spot the rare kindness with real cost behind it and invest in it with everything you have. You'll stop wasting outrage on butchers for being butchers and simply learn where the honest meat is. And you'll walk through a world of hidden arithmetic as the one man doing his sums in the open, which turns out to be, in a crooked economy, the most unbeatable position there is. Machiavelli has been called cynical for 500 years by people who never noticed what he actually built. Systems that made ordinary self-interested men behave well, reliably, without requiring a single cent. That's the work. Not despising the math, mastering it, aligning it, and building things on it that wishes could never hold up. Say it one more time and put it in the comments. I see the math, all of it now, including your own. If this one rewired something, you're one of us now. Subscribe and stay close, because once you can read everyone's ledger, one question is left standing. What's your name worth inside their math? Your reputation is an asset with a price on it. In every room, in every deal, whether you manage it or not. The next video is about building that name before you ever need to spend it, because leverage assembled in advance is the only kind that's ever there when you reach for it. Don't miss it. Read the costs, find the gains, map the forks, follow the rent, and keep your own books in the open, where no manipulator can find a hidden payment to pull.